Everybody, here I am in my washroom, my laundry room at James's house, because I need to talk to y'all. I heard this one grandma say the other day. She said, well, I was just lonely and it's in the evening and I just needed to talk to somebody. Well, James is there watching, we're at his house, watching TV, and I'm in here with my cat, both of them. Look at this. They're right down there. See that? They're keeping me company. I guess you can see them. I don't know. But this is James's engine that he's supposed to paint. Let me see if I can show you that. See that? He was going to paint it. And then he's got another one over there that's real pretty. And this is a belt that he wears, his Western belt. And I stack towels in here. And this is his backyard out there. And the leaves are coming down. And I'm right here. I guess I'm still right here. And so I have a verse of the day, and I want to read it to you. I got it off of my big iPad. I got my big iPad here, and I got things going. I got things going this morning. So y'all hang on. We're going to talk a while. And I forgot my coffee. It's sitting in the living room, and I'm in the washroom. This is a verse from my big iPad. Now, on my big iPad, I carry a little sack like this because you got a place you can hook your stuff up. And I got some safety pins, old-timey safety pins, and I pin it there. And then when I take off my hearing aids, I've got a little thing in here that I can put my hearing aids in. And today I decided to go yellow. It's so cheery. Looks like the sun's going to come out, though. So anyhow, these cats are in here keeping me company, scratching on their scratcher. They got their little house, but they don't spend a lot of time here. But now, the verse of the day is Timothy. Let's see, 1 Timothy 4:15 and 16. Good admonition this morning. Be diligent in these matters. Give yourself wholly to them, so that everyone may see your progress. Watch your life and doctrine closely. Persevere in them, because if you do, you will save both yourself and your hearers. And here comes those cats again. I just enjoy life. I tell you what, James in the living room watching TV, and I decided to come in the washroom. I don't have a studio set up over here. I got all my stuff. I'm green today. Can you see my green earrings? Aren't they cute? And I got a green blouse, $2. Isn't that pretty? Got that down at the Methodist thrift store. I bought about 6 new shirts yesterday. I tried one on this morning, and you know I can't always I don't try them on down there. And I tell you what, it would have fitted a 300-pound woman. I'm going to take that back and let it go through the cycle again. So anyhow, what was I going to talk about? I don't remember, but it reminds me of this grandma chit-chat. Sat down the other day and said, well, it's Sunday evening and I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Well, it's Saturday morning and I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But I can tell you about my past life, and I've had a lot of experiences. And when my husband joined the Navy, maybe I didn't tell you kids this, but he was a sweet man, but he couldn't find no job here in Indiana, so he decided to join the Navy. He said, that way I can support you because I'll get pay. Now, here's that cat. Here, let me show you. Here. See her? Where'd she go? There she is. See her? She's getting on top of her box, and that's her place to be at times. So anyway, he needed a job, so he joined the Navy. And they sent him to San Diego, California. Well, in about 3 weeks, guess what? Him and another guy hitchhiked home. They went over a 6-foot-high fence and came home. That's called AWOL, absent without leave. And you ain't supposed to run away from the Navy, or what? He was in boot camp, and I thought he was doing fine. No, he wasn't. He came home. Well, he didn't want to go back. And finally, he said, well, I'm going back. So he turned himself in and he went back. And do you know, he wasn't gone but like 3 or 4 weeks again. He was back at San Diego. This is a true story. And I was staying with my sister-in-law at that time, and I heard she lived upstairs, and I heard these, and I was living there with her because he was gone. I got to stay somewhere, and I didn't want to be with my mom and dad because that's so boring. Out on the farm, I hated it. That's the reason I got married, to get away from that farm. Too much work and mom's kids, and I didn't want to take care of her kids and raise her kids. I wanted to get on living my own life, which I was doing. And it didn't turn out as great as I thought, I'll tell you, but life goes on. So I heard these footsteps on the stairs, and this is the truth. I said, that sounds like my husband coming up the stairs. That couldn't be. So I went to the door and opened it, and there he stood. He had hitchhiked again all the way from California. Did it twice. Well, what do you do now? So, my Aunt Mary, who, bless her heart, my favorite aunt, she and her husband had a little house, shotgun house, over on Charter Street. So I asked her, could we stay over there for a few days till he could make up his mind what he was going to do, because he's got a report somewhere. When you go absent without leave, AWOL, they're going to come and get you. And they're going to kick you out of the Navy. So Norman was her husband. He was driving a taxi cab and barely making enough money that he could buy a loaf of bread and a pound of bologna for our supper, because they were feeding us. We didn't have no money. We didn't have any money. My English ain't too good sometimes. But anyhow, finally, Mary's husband said, if you don't turn yourself in, I'm calling the authorities and they're going to come and get you. He said, okay. So he turned himself in. And I think that he turned himself in, and they came and got him, and they put him on a train to go to Great Lakes. So he's got to go to Great Lakes, and in front of, what are they going to do with him? Decide whether to keep him or kick him out, give him an undesirable discharge. Well, when they took him up there, they started running him through all these tests with a psychologist. And he told me later, he said, they asked me all kinds of questions and everything. And he said they had these ink blot tests you may have heard of. He said and you look at it and you tell them what you think it is. He said, so I took all of them and I answered all their questions honest. And he said, you know what? They let me see him. They gave me a 6-month sentence in Great Lakes, and I have to serve that. And I'm going to be in jail for 6 months. He said, now don't you come join me. We was talking on the phone. He said, don't you dare come join me. You stay right there where you're at. I'm going to serve my time, and I'm going to do my boot camp, and it's all going to go good. Well, nobody tells me exactly what to do. So, when I had a job at that time at the Bobolink restaurant in New Albany. Time moves on, so I was working, and I saved my money. And you know what I did? I caught me a bus for Great Lakes, and I went to Great Lakes. And I got into Chicago New Year's Eve night. And that's where I run into that. Have you heard tell of white slavery? Well, that's the same as selling somebody for money, a woman or a guy And this lovely couple, which I've told before, met me when I got off the bus. And they said, oh, you just got in town. Do you need someplace to stay? And I said, well, no. They said, well, if you do, we got a nice home and we can put you up and keep you. And you can stay there till you can get a job and make it if you want to go stay with us for a few days. And my dad had bought a book from an auction that told all about white slavery. Understand, I'm 17, 18 years old, and I happened to know what was going on. So I told them, no, thank you. And they were so sophisticated and rich looking. So I went over to, they have a traveler's aid there. And I said, could you tell me a place I can go get, because I had some money, a place to stay safe tonight to catch my bus tomorrow to go on to Great Lakes? They said, yes, we do. The YMCA, the Young Women's Association, is just one block down. And you can walk, just go, and here's you a chit that you can stay and it won't cost you anything. I said, thank you so much. Well, that couple had disappeared by the time I got my chit to go to the place to spend my night. And so I went in there and gave them my permission slip, and they said, okay, you have to share a room with another girl, and you're on the 17th floor. So I went up. Highest I ever been in an elevator. But there we went. And so I got up there, and there she was already, and it was getting kind of late. And it was New Year's Eve night. And she said, shall we just stay up and watch when everything happens at midnight, because we're in the middle downtown Chicago? So we stayed up and watched. And boy, was that a celebration. It was something else. She was a Jewish girl, and we just got acquainted and, temporarily, and we just had a good time together. And then the next morning I went my way and she went hers. I caught a bus for Great Lakes for the base. And I said, I want to go up to the base where they train the soldiers and stuff, or the sailors. So I got a bus and I went there. And you know what? I went right on. They dropped me off right inside of the Great Lakes place. They could come through and drop people off, because there was housing there in places. Not that I could get any, because he hadn't even finished boot camp. So I said, what do I do now? So I asked somebody, where is the head man of this complex of the Navy station? Where's he at? They said, well, his office is such and such right over there. You can walk. Well, I went. And so I went in, and he said, what can I do for you? I said, well, I got a problem. My husband went AWOL a few times, and he's here now, and he's got to serve a 6 month sentence in the brig. And he won't stay in the Navy unless I stay with him. And I got to figure out what to do so he'll stay in the Navy. He said, and I said, and I'm looking for a job. He said, well, you know what? It just so happens now this is the Lord going before a silly little old girl and making the crooked places straight. He said, we need somebody in the laundry. Would you want that job? I said, I'll take it. He said, well, don't pay whole. I said, I'll take it. So I took it, and I went to work. He said, the only thing is, you got to find you a place to stay. We don't, have anything here for you. But if you will go over to this little town, and the train runs over there, there is a lot of people that rent rooms to single women and couples, and they'll rent a room, and you can have a place to be. So I went over to that town. It's called Lake Bluff. And I went over there, and I looked in the paper, and there was this house, room for rent. We rent rooms, $10 a week. So I went, and I found the house. Don't ask me how, I don't know. It's been too long ago. So I went over there, and there was this little Italian lady, and her English wasn't the greatest. But she said, yeah, I got a room. And she says, it's upstairs. So she showed it to me, and it had a half bed. I said, I'll take it. No refrigerator, no stove, a bed, and a place to hang your clothes. $10 a week. And there was a couple of it was a 3-bedroom upstairs, and there was other couples in the other 2 bedrooms. I spent a lot of crying, and I have cried a lot. And I cried, and they could hear me. And I tried to keep it quiet, but sometimes I just grieved pretty loud. But they said, what's wrong? And I said, well, I probably won't get to see my husband, and he's in a special school. I just couldn't tell him he was in the brig. I was embarrassed. Their husband was baseball players on the team for the Navy. I mean, they were big wheels. Well, I think they knew where he was. But they didn't embarrass me by saying, we know he's in the brig. Special school. So anyway, they would invite me to ball games, and I tell you what, those guys could throw a ball 90 miles an hour. And I went to the ball games, and it got me out of the room. But the bad thing about that room is my milk wouldn't keep. You know, I gotta have milk. So I would buy a quart of milk, and I ate a lot of canned tuna on light bread with mayonnaise and pickles and stuff like. You can live on sandwiches and milk, and that's what I did. No refrigeration. Well, so they decided to let him come home and visit me on weekends after he had been in a good while, and I was working in the laundry. What was strange about working in the laundry was the laundry had a big door where the trucks bought the dirty laundry and stuff of all the high up officers and stuff, and that's the kind that get washed in the laundry. And so I was a folder. I folded t-shirts, pants, and whatever needed folding. I was the folder. I don't fold nothing now. I just kind of pitch it. But anyway, I could look out that door, and there was a big field there that had to be mowed and picked up and taken care of. And there would be my husband cleaning that up with guards all around him. They had guards to watch you while you're working, and I could see him. Well, finally, they let him come spend the weekends with me some on that little half bed. That was not fun because he was a pretty good-sized guy, you know. He was about 5'11", not 6 foot. He missed it by an inch. Anyway, sleeping there was horrible, but we got to be together, and I would feed him sandwiches and soft drinks that were still kind of warm or whatever. We just made out on the weekends, but during the week, and when it got summertime, that room was as hot as a furnace. I didn't have a fan. I didn't have anything. But that little Italian woman had a sofa down on her porch, which was cool down there. So I would sneak down after she went to bed, and I'd go down there and sleep. And then she caught me. No, you not be sleeping in my couch. No, I don't allow no. No, you stay your room. No, no sleeping on the couch. I said, really? Really? Well, anyway, I didn't obey her either, because I tell you what, once she got asleep, she was asleep, and I was back down there. But I would wake up. I had an inner alarm clock that would wake me up before she got up, and I'd be back upstairs, and it'd be cooled down by then. So I just would keep on working, and don't you know, they sent him back to San Diego. He said, now don't you be coming out here. He said, I don't want that. You stay where you at. You got a good job. You got a nice little room. You're doing good. And when I get done, then I'll send for you. He said, I'm going to get boot camp over with. I never did mine good. No, I didn't. If y'all want to hear the next segment, maybe I'll tell it tomorrow. Because I'm out of wind today. I'm done. So it's been fun, children. Anyhow, let me show you this cat again. Being this is my phone, I can do this. Look at this cat. You see that? She's in her little bed. See there? There's her duck she plays with. And there she is. Let me see. And you know what? See the white tip on the tail there? That's baby girl. I call her more baby girl than anything, because that's what she is, baby girl. Well, I've had fun talking to you. So, walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you. I think this iPhone did pretty good today, don't you? And I enjoyed my yellow. It's cheery. Yellow is so cheery. And I got my cabinets painted. I don't have the handles back on yet, but I got to do that. Got to get it done. James took care of it. Love you. God bless you. May the Lord go before you and make your crooked places straight. He's good at that. I know for sure. He does it for us. Bye-bye.